welcome along to another video. I am that cycling chimp, and in this one my route is going to consist of a 65-kilometre round trip. I'm inviting every single one of you that's watching this to join me as I take on the sights and sounds of the Ayrshire county. So if you want to find out a little bit more on how I got on today, or maybe you're new to the channel and you would just like to see Scotland by bike, you've came to the right place. So stick around, grab yourself a cuppa, kick back and relax, and let's get the show on the road. Today's adventure, I'm starting off in my hometown in Ayr, and I'm heading towards the picturesque village of Straiton, which is roughly about 15 miles south of the town. There's two reasons I'm heading down there today. One of them we will reveal later on, but the first one is I've heard that the cycling pit stop of the Buck, which is a cafe, has just reopened. I've also heard a rumour that they do one of the best mochas in the county, so I'm going to go down and investigate that. At this moment in time, I'm standing next to a pond at Northfield Park, and I've got a swan looking at me just now. It doesn't look too happy, so I'm not going to hang around much longer. So let's clip in and see how we got on today. Morning. Well, as we just left the perimeter in the concrete jungle of Ayr behind me, and I'm into the true rolling hills of the Ayrshire countryside. As I said, I'm heading towards Straiton. I'm going to be taking in the villages of Dalrymple and Kirkmichael as well. It's a route I've kind of semi-done a few times before, but there is a few changes this time and a couple of surprises. But first, I want to give a huge thanks to every single one of you that's been hitting that subscribe button recently. In my last video, I did say we were nearly at 2,000 subscribers, and we've surpassed that up to 2,037 as of recording this video. And genuinely, I don't know how to say thanks to you. When I started doing this channel, I never thought that I would even get to 50 subscribers, so getting to 2,000 has really humbled me, and it's made me more motivated to do more of these videos for you. So if you haven't subscribed and you do like the videos, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell as well. In my last video, I headed up to Whiteley Wind Farm with a little Brompton G-line just to see what it was like, and it was quite a fun day. I wasn't expecting the Gravel Championships been on, so that was a little bit of problematic for the Brompton, although I maybe should have entered that race because there was a few of them eating the dust of the Brompton. Nah, I'm only joking. I was about as aerodynamic as a block of flats. Get up and down those hills, it was quite a workout, but it was pretty capable. Today I'm riding the Green Hornet because I know I've got quite a lot of miles in front of me, so I'm looking forward to this one. The weather today, well, the forecast is supposed to be hit and miss thundery showers. We're into the first week of September, which is autumn, so it's going to be a bit of a mixed bag, but I feel the whole year of 2025 has been a bit of a mixed bag of weather. I've certainly had some hot weather at some points, but it's been really mixed with rain, wind, especially in the summertime. We've had a bit of a windy season, a couple of bad days of wind. And talking about wind, I've got one hell of a headwind in front of me, so I'm hoping the route back's going to be a lot better. And I think we could maybe play a little game today as well, and we'll see how many tractors we can see out in the countryside. Let's get clipped in and see where we're going. I've just stopped for a little minute to get my heart rate down. I've got 8 climbs to do today, and I'm just about to do the second one. I've done the first one there just as we were coming into the village of Dalrymple. And when I've come in there, I'm actually quite disappointed and quite upset. The Curtain Inn is actually closed. I don't know how long it's been closed for. If you know how long it's been closed for, let me know in the comments below. But it was an absolutely brilliant place for something to eat, and it was a great little pub as well. It used to be an old railway station years ago, and obviously they converted it, but it's quite sad to see that close because it was a really nice establishment. As I said, I'm just getting my heart rate down. I'm going to have something quick to eat, change the battery over in the GoPro, and then I'm going to hit my second hill of the day, get out of Dalrymple. And I absolutely hate this hill. It toils with me every time. But it's just a warm-up for the surprise later on. Anyway, let's get something to eat and move on. I would also just like to thank whoever let their dog poop in the pavement. And this is the reason I get angry sometimes. The dog doesn't know any better, so please pick it up and bag it and put it in the bin. It's just horrible. Now I've got to travel another bloody 30 miles, absolutely stinking of dog poop. We'll hopefully try and find somewhere I can get this off. Sake. And here we go, slammed into hill 2 of 8 today. The first one out of Dalrymple. Absolutely hate this hill. Well, that's hill 2 completed. Hello there. And we're just about to get slammed into hill 3, which is an absolute doozy, this one. This one, the gradient is something else. But the good thing about it is, we've got a cracking descent into the village of Carmichael after this. But before I get to the bottom of this summit, and I'm using summit as the word, I've got a little bit of fly-wheeling to get down to it. A little bit of conserved energy, shall we say. I'm just hanging back for 1 second. I seen there was a Royal Mail van just went into the farmhouse just behind me there. So I don't want to start getting up this hill and potentially holding back anybody's delivery. I'm sitting just now, just at the top before we get down, before we hit this, but I don't know how well this will translate in the camera, but I'll show you. We actually get down the road here, it dips down and then turns round. You can actually see the other side of the road, but it doesn't stop there because it passes another farmhouse and continues up. But once we get there, you get a cracking view of the Galloway Hills and the surrounding area as well. So I'm just holding off another wee second or two till this Royal Mail van passes, and then we're going to attack this. And that's me at the top of Giltree Hill. Some parts of that it's like 13% gradients, and it's not a nice one, but it definitely gives you a good workout. The thing I love about the top of this is you can just look down and you can see all the Galloway Hills in the distance. Just look at this. If you just, never mind that little sheep there, you're looking all the way down there to the Merrick. It's just absolutely spectacular looking, even more spectacular looking when there's no cloud. Now there's a little trig point in one of the hills there, and that is a hill just outside of Straiton. The village of Straiton is actually down at the bottom of that, that's where we're headed to. So we've got a cracking descent all the way down to the village of Carmichael, and then we're going to use the cycling byway. I'm actually going to go a different way than I did the last time I was down this neck of the woods. Hopefully I'll not commit myself. So the next stop is going to be Blairquhan Castle. I'll let you know a little bit about that when I get there. So it's time to grip on and full tuck this. It's just like you're never ending descending. I'm going to feel this later on though. Now here's a bit I didn't expect to be happening. When I made this commute map, I'd actually plotted to go through the Blairquhan Castle estate. Followed it through with the guidelines, but I've came to a locked gate. Now there's no signage round about saying that there's any private dwellings, although there is a house there and I'm presuming that's what the gate's for, to stop cars going in that way. But there is a right to roam in Scotland, so I'm going to see how I can get through this gate to get to the other side. I don't think it's going to be easy. So we managed to tackle the gate. The question is, am I going to be commuted? I don't think I will, because this is a road. And as I said, there was no sign saying private dwelling or do not enter. So we'll see where this takes us. I'm pretty sure it takes us to Blairquhan Castle, if the map is correct. And I need to watch as well. It's very wet and slippy with moss in this road, because it doesn't look as if it's been used that much. Anyway. I'm actually halfway up my fourth climb and it's absolutely brilliant through here. Just so quiet and tranquil. All you can hear is the birds tweeting, and I'm looking across and I'm seeing a castle in the distance there. I don't know if you can see that one. That's not Blairquhan Castle, that's Cloncaird Castle. And you can actually stay in Cloncaird Castle. It's very reminiscent of Culzean Castle with the one turret, and that was one of the things about the castles around about this area. They always had this kind of turret structure, whether it was in the middle or whether it was at each corner of the castle. But it's not the castle I'm looking for. I need to continue going. And hopefully this road will bring us out just to the end before the village of Straiton. The adventure continues. I'm definitely getting close to the castle because I'm led to believe that's the Falls of Linn. When I was curating this map on commute, it was actually a hiker's trail, and that's why I love the gravel bike, because it's just pure adventure in two wheels on this, and it looks as if it's been untouched because there's no bike trails whatsoever. I stand corrected, that was not the Falls of Linn down there. There's a little bench down here, and as you've just seen there, there's a little sign that says the Linn. Wait till you see this. Absolutely spectacular. You just hear that raw power of water coming over it. The current's quite fast as well. Just before it come down to that small bench, there was a herring fishing at the side of the river. And when it seen me, it bolted off, and I don't know what kind of fish it had in its mouth. I'm presuming possibly trout. And it's very hard to see through the water because it's quite murky, but there is large fish down there. There's actually a small plaque on this bench. Let's have a little look and see what's there. It says it's in the memory of Barry Bradshaw, or Brad for short. 1933, it was a wonderful year, to 1997. Angler and countryman who loved this place above all others. So it must have been a beloved place by Brad, and I can see why. Absolutely spectacular looking. Anyway, starting to get to that time, I'm getting a little bit peckish. We're not too far away from the village of Straiton, and it's nearly high noon. So let's quickly go and see Blairquhan Castle and then roll into the village. All right. All right. Now that behind me is Blairquhan Castle, and it's a very significant castle because it's featured in a few films in its time, and it's a filming location. Probably the most famous one that I know of is The Queen with Helen Mirren. They actually used the interiors of it to duplicate Balmoral Castle. It used to be owned by the Kennedys, as in the Kennedy clan that owns Culzean Castle, but now it's a Chinese company that actually owns it, and they use it for private functions, filming, things like that. But it's just an absolute marvel of architecture. And out of all the blinds that are open, there's actually a window up there. I keep thinking I'm seeing a little face looking out. If that's not creepy enough. Anyway, if you know any other films that were filmed here, let me know in the comments below. I'll need to check out IMDb when I get home, but I'm sure I've seen it before. I'm unsure if it's the castle that was in Still Game, where Jack and Victor were pretending to be rich pensioners. It looks very similar. I don't think it is that one, but I'm going to check that out when I get home. Anyway, we've got less than 1 kilometre, so let's roll into town and see if we can get something to eat. Welcome to Straiton, also known as Rambler territory. Let's go on a hitch up the ride and go and see if this mock is what it's all about. And it looks as if there's another cyclist just about to get into the buck. And it's a familiar face. Hello Clive, how you getting on? Not bad.
That's what your posts and things here.
Aye, it's relatively good. It's good that we've got another stop off, so it is out this neck of the woods.
It's halfway for me, so
Aye.
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 You do the same.
Aye, it's just the other side of here. So as I say, that's what I'm doing. I'm doing today one of your Ayrshire Alps. So as I'm going to do, I've not done Knock Gardner yet. That'll be the one I'm doing.
I did that in summer. It was part of a guy, Chris Wilkinson, you probably know him. Was doing sort of, well, he's got 2 houses, one in Girvan, one in Ballantrae, which is all so.
Now as I was coming in to the village, I seen a cyclist just in front of me, and it's as if everything has aligned. The surprise I was going to talk about was I was going to do another Ayrshire Alp today. Now this is one that's just the opposite side of Straiton, called Knock Garden. And the man that curated the maps for all the Ayrshire Alps that's on Komoot is Clive Drummond, and I've just met Clive Drummond as he's going into the buck. So I'm going to go in and get a coffee, and I'll get a little natter with Clive, and then we're going to continue the journey on. Need to watch what we're doing here with the buck, because it looks as if they've got a little bit of a wasp problem. Anyway, let's go and see if this mocha is exactly what they say it is. And they're using Rocket Monkey coffee. The coffee's good so far. I was going to sit in at the buck, but there is too many wasps that's kicking about. So I'm just going to sit outside the McCandlish Hall. So the biggest question you're probably asking is, how good is this mocha? Now I know the Rocket Monkey Brewery in Ayr, I've had many coffees off of them that's really good, but how does the buck's taste? Very nice. Very nice indeed. Now the other question you're going to ask is, what is in my little brown bag? I come all the way down here for a treacle scone, but they never had any in stock. So I've opted for a Viennese whirl. That just is pure carbs and sugar. Oh, it really does taste like your old granny's bacon. Oh. So why have I got so excited that the buck is back open? Well, it's a tea room that was open for many years, and it was a cyclist pit stop when people were out here cycling. It closed a couple of years ago, but it's the community that's taken it on, and obviously they've reopened it with the tea room. And it's great that the cyclists have got this pit stop again, which is basically in the heart of the Ayrshire Alps. Now, community is a huge thing in the cycling world, but it's also a huge thing in this village, because not only have the community taken over the buck, they've also taken over Straiton stores. And there's one other place that they've taken over as well. Behind the village hall, there is public toilets, and South Ayrshire Council closed them down a few years ago. Again, the community got together and they reopened them back up, and they take care of them. Got to leave a small donation if you use it, and I don't see that as a bad thing, because it's really good when you've got somewhere to relieve yourself, especially out in the middle of nowhere like this little village. It's just a fantastic little place to cycle to. So I'm going to finish my Viennese whirl, my mocha, have a quick chat to Clive, and then we'll start moving on again. And as I said, we've got the little community toilets. You can't come in here with me. They've got a little red box to give a little donation, because it costs £3,500 a year to keep these toilets clean and working. So now we know the true meaning of spending a penny. Right, let's get clipped in and continue the adventure back to Ayr. So I've just finished having my comfort break. I've met up with Clive, and Clive's going to join me as we do Knock Garner together and head back towards Ayr. So it's not every day you get to cycle with one of the local legends. Anyway, let's get clipped in and see how we get on. Had to stop just a little second to get the jackets on. That's the rain coming, but we've just hit Knock Garner, Ayrshire Alp. So let's get up this. I need to put you guys away because this little camera is not waterproof, unfortunately. We'll see you in a bit.
That lady's just coming out just now.
One at the side.
That used to be derelict for a while.
You're alright, I'll not try to flag you down, boss. If I wanted to meet them at Guruk on the Friday afternoon once they'd finished their work, up across to Tearoom, head to start cycling, try make it to Tynabruch before making a pub shop for dinner. I think that gate's shut. That gate's shut. Then we'll come down by a stampede. They must be moving cattle. Move this to the side. What's that? It's open reach. And that's us all the way back to the leafy suburbs of Ayr. An absolute fantastic afternoon I just had, cycling all the way back with Clive. And as you can see, the sun's back out. Now, a lot of you people will probably know Clive if you're local, but for the ones that don't, Clive is one of the guys that curated the maps for the Ayrshire Alps. So it was really good getting some of the knowledge of all the hills that we were cycling in earlier on, and just some local history as well with the cycling clubs. And I had a great afternoon of listening to some of his stories. I've cycled with Clive a few times. I just was not expecting to bump into him today, out and about on the bike. So it just shows you how inclusive the cycling community is, because we could have just went our separate ways at Straiton, but we decided to take on Knock Gardner Hill together in the rain. As I said, that's us just heading back into the town of Ayr and nearly to the end of the video. I'd just like to thank you all for sticking out and watching this week's video. It's been a wee while since I've done one, and I've got another adventure coming up pretty soon. If you enjoyed this one, give us a huge thumbs up, and if you really liked it, consider subscribing, because it's your subscribing that keeps the chimp rolling and riding. And as I said at the beginning of the video, we've just broke 2,000 subscribers, so we're now becoming more of a collective than just a few subscribers. I hope to see you all in the next one. In the meantime, you can check out my last adventure up there on the Brompton, or check out previously on that Cycling Chimp, which are archived videos. I'm now going home to get the Green Hornet ready for the next adventure, which might have a bit of a gravel twist. Till the next time, guys, bye for now, and remember to pedal smart out there.